Revolutionary greetings, comrades. I am Ngabuto Nicholas Mabena. One of the painful things of being a communist is that you must question everything. And when you question everything, you become very unpopular. It is fine. You get insulted, it is fine. So if you aspire to be a communist, you must have an analytical mind. You don't just reach a conclusion on what you read in the press, social media. No. You must question, ask yourself why this thing is happening in the manner in which it is happening. Professor Ncube used to say to us, Professor Wishman Ncube used to say to us, you must think until it hurts. So if you want to be a communist, or when you are a communist, you should study, not read. There's a difference between a reading and a study. You must study dialectical and historical materialism. This becomes your tool in analyzing society, in analyzing organizations, in analyzing individuals. We always refer this to Marxist-Leninist tools of analysis. When you are a communist, you don't just follow what someone says. You ask difficult questions. Not because you want to discourage people, no. Because you want to guide the revolution correctly. Because if you are a communist, or you want to be a communist, and you fail to guide the people correctly, you will lead people to a slaughterhouse. You will lead workers and peasants to a slaughterhouse. So when you ask difficult questions, be prepared to be insulted, that's fine. But at the end, the working class and peasant will then agree with you. At the end. Because at the onset, they will not. Because they are not communists. They don't have the tools of analysis that is in your disposal as a communist. Because if someone stands up, says something, you just follow, everyone follows, then there is no need for a society to have communists. We are caught up in what we call the Blessed Geza moment. And when we ask difficult questions, even amongst some who are members of the Zimbabwe Communist Party, we're told, no, Comrade GS, we can't be asking these questions, people are suffering. But people have been suffering since colonialism. Right? Saying, no, we are now swimming against the tide. No. But we are saying, comrade, let us examine this. Let us be frank, be brutal in our analysis, and be honest in our analysis. And analyze this so that when we take a decision, it is not a decision informed by what someone says. It must be informed by our own scientific analysis. Comrade Blessed Geza and the war veterans in Zimbabwe. By the way, the war ended on 18 April 1980. It is 45 years since the war in Zimbabwe ended. So when we talk of a war veteran, we talk of a person who we might say was 1719 at independence. And that number of war veterans over the last 45 years, it has gone down. Others have died, old age, and so forth. So the war veterans themselves now do not command, or they are not necessarily the mass of the Zimbabwean people. Right? They are a critical component, no doubt about that. But they do not represent the majority because the war ended 45 years ago. So war veterans on their own cannot bring about any political and economic change in Zimbabwe. That's the first point that we must understand. The second point, or the second question, which as communists we must ask, what is the social class that Blessed Geza and his comrades represent? Thirdly, why are we now going back to the mistakes of the movement for democratic change? We have criticized the MDC because the MDC had a slogan, Mugabe must go. And as communists we had said, no, it was never about an individual, Robert Gabriel Mugabe. It was about the institution. It was about the system that he was leading. We should not be caught in 2025 in a Mnangagwa must go slogan. I'm struggling to understand this concept, which says Mnangagwa is stronger than Chiwenga. Let's remove Mnangagwa. It will be easy to deal with Chiwenga. We said let's remove Mugabe. It will be easy to deal with Mnangagwa. We were wrong in 2017. We must accept. Because Mugabe was strong on the basis of the state apparatus that he controlled as executive president of the Republic of Zimbabwe. And his deputy Mnangagwa appeared weak to us because he did not control state institutions. He was not the executive president of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Now Emmerson Mnangagwa is executive president of Zimbabwe. He controls state institutions. If Chiwenga becomes executive president of Zimbabwe under the same constitution, under the same system, he will have the same powers that Mugabe enjoyed, that Mnangagwa is enjoying. If I become president of Zimbabwe myself, Ngabuto Nicholas Mapema, under the same system, under the same constitution, I will have the same powers that Mugabe, Mnangagwa, and Mugabe enjoyed and Mnangagwa is enjoying. Because it is the system that is a problem that we must dismantle. So removing an individual does not resolve our problems. So I'm saying, as communists, we must ask these difficult questions. That our key mission is to complete the liberation of Zimbabwe. And the liberation of Zimbabwe can only be completed if we dismantle the neo-colonial state. if we push back the influence of imperialist forces, it is then that we begin to complete our own liberation as the people of Zimbabwe, where we then build an economy that will benefit the working class and peasantry. Because we want a state which the working class and peasantry will be in charge of. We do not want a state where one faction of ZANU-PF will control. Because Comrade Blessed Geza is correct in his opinion and in his view, because he is a member of ZANU-PF, even though he was expelled, but we know the history that there are some who get expelled. ED himself was at some point expelled. He crossed illegally to Mozambique, running away from Mugabe. Fine. But Geza is a member of ZANU-PF. And his comrades is a factional fight. That one faction in ZANU-PF must emerge victorious over the faction that President Emmerson Mnangagwa is leading. He has got nothing about the working class and peasantry. So these are the questions that we must ask. I know that, as I said, that we get insulted by asking these questions. And I've been asking comrades, we see Comrade Blessed Geza alone. Who is Geza working with? Then we are told, no, it's a guerrilla operation. Okay. Let's agree that it's a guerrilla operation. Firstly, the guerrilla operation spoke of a mass action on the 31st of March, which turned out to have been a successful stairway. Of course, it was not a planned stairway. The plan was for people to pour in the streets and they drive Mnangagwa out. But the people, for their own safety, decided to stay home because they didn't know whether the military was going to be deployed in the streets. Because people know that the military in Zimbabwe is divided, as we saw in 2017. If you read the book 2 weeks in November, you will know that a CIO who played a critical role in mobilizing the diaspora in working with the Mtswanga, if you read that book, a guy by the name Casper, I don't know whether it is his official name, but the book speaks about Casper. He was the one who was critical in mobilizing the support of 2017, working with the likes of Gabriel Shumba, Tino Mabeu, a white comrade Ellis, and others, Mtswanga, Monica Mtswanga. He played a critical role. But when Mnangagwa was being inaugurated in November 2017, this Casper guy, a CIO, was in cells because those that were loyal to Mugabe apprehended him and tortured him. That shows that the military was divided. He was actually detained by some military intelligence officials. So the people of Zimbabwe on the 31st said, look, these guys might end up shooting each other in the streets. Let's stay home. It became a successful stairway. Though the plan was for people to take to the streets, possibly march to State House, and force President Mnangagwa out of power. Then the second strategy that came with Comrade Blessed Geza was an impeachment. When he announced impeachment, we said, but the parliament is being controlled by Emmerson Mnangagwa. There is no way that the members of parliament who have been given land, given vehicles, given monies, members of parliament, the last parliament, senators and members of parliament were given $40,000. They never paid it back. We were told it was some loan. They never paid it back. Deputy ministers were given huge sums of money, ministers. We spoke about this. And we said, you will never get the majority of MPs impeaching Mnangagwa when he is the one who is taking care of their livelihoods? They will not go against the man who gives them bread. And we know how our parliament is compromised. So we then saw a weak strategy in the impeachment. Later on, they then realized themselves that no, this is not going to work. Then we are now in the middle of what is called a stairway. Because now the people have realized that, look, the military is not coming out of its barracks with Comrade Blessed Geza. They are not hitting the call for a stairway. So this is why we are then asking these questions as communists. And we are saying we should not just follow the wind, we must be critical. So the argument that other comrades then raised to say, no, the people have suffered a lot, we have suffered since colonialism. I'm concluding. If you are a communist, or if you want to be a communist, at all material times use dialectical and historical materialism to analyze. Do not just follow the wind. We should not be responsible as communists to mislead people. Let's accept their criticism, but eventually they are going to agree with us. I have a friend on Facebook. When I raised these questions in the first days, he came to me heavy with a hammer, criticizing me. No, my pen are irrelevant. But now he begins to say, no, this guy is not being honest with us. And I was saying to him, but look, you were criticizing us. This is exactly the issues that you are now raising. These are the issues that we're raising from the word go. But we are not holding any grudges against you. But because you are not a communist, that's why we did not criticize you. We accepted to be criticized. Please write in the comment section, like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, Amandla comrades.